This is the story of how Tobi and I got married. We first got together in 1975. We got married in 1976. We broke up in 1981. But we've been friends pretty much ever since.
We actually met 3 years before that, in 1972. We were at a friend's, and I saw Elisha walk through the kitchen, and he was wearing white overalls. He had red toenail polish and a full beard. It was love at first sight. He was 18 years old, and I thought he was out of my league. This is me and my parents the summer that I met Elisha, yeah. And this is a picture of Elisha. I think he's 15 years old in this picture. This is my boyfriend Bobby and I at our high school prom. I think we're pretty stoned here.
This is me with my high school girlfriend. This is me on Hollywood Boulevard pretending that's my motorcycle.
So Elisha thought I should tell you a story that would somehow explain a little bit how wacky my parents were. So when I was 15, I had a boyfriend named Jeff who wrote me a note about oral sex. And my mother found this note. And she proceeded to destroy my bedroom. She brought the bed into the middle of the room. She took all the sheets off. She took all the books off the shelf. She took all my clothes out of the closet and put them on a clothes rack. And I thought maybe I was being thrown out. I wasn't sure. So I just sort of gingerly started putting things away. And then my mother came in and said, "Dad wants to talk to you in the den." So I go in and he says, "I had to explain to your mother what these things were in the note." Made me feel bad for both of them. But Elisha sort of reminded me that my mother probably actually knew and just wasn't copy to it. Anyway, my father then called Jeff's father and told him his son was a pervert and needed psychiatric care. Anyway, 3 years after I met Elisha, he called me out of the blue.
During that 3 years, I was dumped by my high school girlfriend. Then a couple years later, dumped by my college girlfriend. Then dumped by my short-term LA girlfriend. And I started thinking, as one might. And I remembered that Tobi liked me. So I called her, and we kind of hung out all that summer.
And then at the end of the summer, I went to college in Cleveland, Ohio. And Elisha hitchhiked from LA to Cleveland to see me. And we were in a coffee shop, having lunch, talking about how stupid marriage was. I mean, just really stupid. Why do people get married? And it's just ridiculous. And then at the same time, our eyes opened and we went, we should get married. That would blow everyone's minds. That would just be the greatest thing. There was this like simultaneous moment. And we were going, oh, Rachel and Larry and Ken, oh, they would just be blown away. It was just too funny not to do it.
But we had to tell our parents, and I don't think our parents got the joke. So we said, okay, we'll start with my parents. So we were having dinner at my parents' house, and after dinner, I said, oh, I just wanted to let you guys know, Tobi and I are going to get married. And they were pretty surprised, because they did not expect that from me or her, however they knew her. And the main concern, I mean, my father, the only thing he really had to say was, well, you know, it's important that Tobi convert to Judaism. Because her father is Jewish, her mother is Catholic. And we kind of looked at each other, thought that was hysterical. Like, that is not something we were going to do. But I just said we'd think about it, and we kind of moseyed on out of there. And next we had to tell Max and Frida, Tobi's parents. Sunday dinner at Max and Frida's. After the end of dinner, Tobi says, we kind of need to let you know, Elisha and I are thinking about getting married. Well, their expression was not so much surprise as horror. There was some just shock and, I don't know what that was, but it kind of slowly turned. And like their faces started getting red, and they started breathing heavily, and it turned into rage.
Oh.
And I don't know whether any of you have been in the situation where you go into a stranger's house, take down your pants, take a shit in their living room. Anyone? I have neither, but I imagine it would look a lot like Max and Frida looked at that moment. And so we kind of made our way out. We had done what we had come for, and on the way to the car, Tobi turns to me and says, I think that went pretty well.
My parents never really took to Elisha. My mother used to say, he just sits there like a bump on a log. And my dad referred to Elisha always as Svengali, because he was certain that Elisha had put some sort of spell on me. Otherwise, that was the only explanation for why I would be with him. My mother was probably a little closer to the truth.
Maybe 2 weeks go by, I come home, Tobi says her parents called, and I was to have lunch with Max at Monty's, which is the weirdest restaurant in the world. It's like, it's in the penthouse of one of the tall office buildings in Westwood, steakhouse, like businessmen hang out there, I guess. I had never even known it existed. I don't know if it still exists. But I said, okay, I guess. So I took the bus down there on the appointed day, elevator up to the top floor. There was Max waiting. Lovely view of all of LA. And we sat and had our steaks, and Max, his questions, kind of normal questions, you know, like, what do you work? What are your plans? What are you guys gonna do? And so I thought, you know, it went pretty well, and I was ready to get the hell out of there. Max insisted on driving me home, which was not too far. Get in the Cadillac, drive down Wilshire Boulevard to my apartment, pulls over to the side of the road. I reach for the door, and he says, Elisha, I will give you $1,000 if you just walk away. Well, I thought about it. It was 1976, and $1,000 was a fair amount of money. I didn't have $1,000. But after thinking about Max for a couple of minutes, I realized I could not trust this fellow, and he would fuck me if he could, if I took this deal. So I said, thanks, but I don't think so. Then his face got red again, and he kind of leaned into me and said, I could beat the shit out of you. She always likes that part. Well, I thought about this too. I looked at Max. He was pretty much like 40 years older than me. So I was pretty sure I could run faster than that.
So we were okay with the idea of having a big wedding, but we just didn't want to have like a typical wedding with, I don't know, we didn't want to do Hava Nagila or have an MC or do any of the corny stuff. We thought, you know, if we could have a cool party, that would be fun. We were okay with that. We wanted to have, you know, a say in the band, like maybe have a jazz band. And then my father went out and hired an Umpapa band. And he goes, they can play anything. And we said that was the deal breaker, forget it. We called the wedding off and said we're just going to get married at City Hall. So about 2 days before we're to get married, my parents call an emergency meeting, and they have me come to the house, and they're begging me to postpone the wedding so it could be done in a good way. Like, in no way is really what they wanted, but they're saying, so, you know, be done right. So they're heavily pressuring me. I leave. My mother chases me down the street, or the driveway, and goes, just remember, Tobi, this is the last thing I'll ever ask of you. Like that, she said. And it was kind of a good offer, but I knew it was a lie.
So we decided to get married in the good way at City Hall. Here we are, standing in front of the judge. The judge was a jerk, and kind of had to make some stupid statements during the little ceremony. my brother's reaction to the judge's statements. Here's Tobi's sister, Cam, being a witness to the document. Here's Tobi's brother-in-law and niece and nephew. You can see how joyous they were at the occasion. It was a little like their puppy had died and they had the witness. Here's Max taking us all out to lunch at Perino's. Me and Matt there. We decided instead of a big wedding, we'd have a potluck at our apartment. The invitation. And with the procedure. Thank you.